Civilization is a game series with a storied history that goes back nearly 35 years. I'm willing to bet that the majority of the people who are watching this video are far, far younger than the series itself. I, however, expose my age by kindly reminding everybody that I was there for the first release. I was also there for every subsequent release. I was there as a mere wide-eyed forum member when the now historical Civ Fanatics forums were created and snowballed into the juggernaut that it is today. I was also there for hundreds, if not thousands, of arguments about which civilization is worth playing and which one is worth ignoring. So I have to ask the question, why is Civilization 7 receiving more hate than its predecessors? Why is it generally regarded as downright slop when it's not even the worst release day Civilization game shoved out the door in recent memory? You would be right to immediately respond to those questions by accusing me of being a Civilization fanboy, or worse, a Civilization 7 apologist. I would go out on a limb to agree. Yet, at the same time, I am an apologist who remembers the entire history of the series. Some of the absolute worst releases are now adored and heralded as kings of the series. Personally, I'm about to go out on a limb here to make a bold claim, one that will be likely seen as an ultimate hot take among hot takes, one that might even alienate a sizable proportion of the Civilization multiplayer and deity playing community. I think Civilization 7, after patch 1.1, is better than Civilization 6 in its current completed state. I can say this confidently after having lost 4 deity games in a row in Civilization 7. Each time, the AI swarms out with a slew of infantry, followed by a myriad of mixed archers and siege engines, along with ranged ships to whittle down my tower defense strategy that has carried me through Civilization 6 so handily. I am even more emboldened as I say this because that has never, ever happened to me in Civilization 6. In fact, I don't think I've ever lost in Civilization 6. To this very day, I'm convinced that it is fundamentally impossible to lose in Civilization 6 with even basic tower defense skills. In Civilization 7, the terrain is far, far rougher. Choke points are everywhere. Warfare is less symmetrical, and there is no guaranteed way to push through a choke point. At the same time, the AI takes full advantage of every possible venue of attack when they swarm you with 30 units at the same time. True, their use of commanders is still very bad, but I am absolutely amazed when I see one of my cities actually fall. That is something that I don't think I've ever experienced in Civilization 6. In fact, I think I have to go all the way back to Civilization 4 to even remember that feeling. It is the feeling that I'm not guaranteed a win. However, that feeling has now gone both ways for me. I actually had a game where I was completely lost, and yet I was the one who was rubber banded back into competitiveness after an era change. Sure, I didn't have any of the benefits of ending the era in spectacular fashion, so I wasn't granted any bonuses, but being put on parity with the deity AI in the Second Age was enough to put me back in the driver's seat after what would have been a fatal crash in the non-modern Civilization games. Frankly, which Civilization game you enjoy the most is always going to be a subjective thing. Yet, for me, the feeling I get when I play Civilization 7 is closer akin to how I felt when I played Civilization 4 for the first time. So much has changed in the series that everything feels completely new to me. I do not have the safety of familiarity to fall back on. Every mistake can compound into a catastrophe. Frankly, it's an intoxicating feeling. Civilization 6, meanwhile, despite not having as bad a release as Civilization 3 or Civilization 5, was something that I considered to be unforgivable, that it never truly corrected long into its completed status. Civilization 6 is easy. Every game feels the same. Every strategy feels the same. Every multiplayer game strategy feels the same. It's less a game and more like going through the motions. Playing different civilizations barely made a dent in the playstyle to the point that I could safely assume mastery of civilizations that I've never played before simply because the same strategies work for every civ. Yes, this may be exceptional for multiplayer communities who take advantage of this level of parity and balance, but for the single-player people like myself, it's boring. I tried for so long to force myself to love Civilization 6, but every endgame always ends up bogged down by rock bands and profits. Either that, or it's spamming end turn to wait for the culture or science victories to go off. Both Civilization 5 and 7 alleviate this by making every enemy civilization hate you by the end of the game, encouraging gamey warfare, but fun warfare to make things interesting up until victory hits. However, in Civilization 6, it rarely happens, to the point where I can safely proclaim victory 100 turns before it's actually fired off. A few meager natural disasters caused by my personally least favorite mechanic, pollution, doesn't change that fact. Climate change is so completely gutted and neutered that it doesn't even warrant noticing in game. I have to deliberately go out of my way to force anything to actually happen. Even then, when it does happen, all you do is lose some tiles that you shouldn't have settled on in the first place. There's even a bloody settlement number icon to warn you, so there's no excuse. Increased disasters don't even do anything either. They're minor inconveniences that just slow down the inevitable victory condition. Considering climate change as a mechanic was a major selling point of the Gathering Storm expansion pack, I can't help but look at Civilization 6 as a whole, in its completed state, as a low point in modern Civilization games. I don't even think it holds a candle to Civilization 5's Brave New World. Does this make me a hater? Probably. I understand there are a lot of people out there who have earned their chops in Civilization 6, and I doubt they'd take too kindly to me making light of a game that they've poured hundreds or thousands of hours into. Yet I look at my pitiful 320 hours in Civilization 6, and then I look at my 6,000 hours on Xfire for Civilization 4, and the 80 hours I've already poured into Civilization 7 1 month into its release. All I can do is shake my head. I went back to Civilization 6 to give it a try after playing Civilization 7 for so long, and after doing the same scouting strategies, after doing the same placement strategies, after doing the same building strategies, regardless of the civilization I picked, I turned it off. I can't do that anymore. There's nothing about the gameplay in Civ 6 that I didn't find more enjoyable in Civ 5, or even now, Civ 7. In fact, I think I've said this before. I find Civilization 6 downright boring. I can't play it for long periods of time anymore. The luster of being the new kid on the block is gone. I don't think there's any reason for me to go back to this game anymore, beyond nostalgia or comparisons like this video. I truly do think Civilization 6 will likely be the penultimate competitive Civilization game for decades to come. Of that, I have almost no doubt. Yet, I am not a competitive player. I do not play in the leagues. I am merely an old head who likes his single-player fun. So to me, Civilization 7 is just better than Civilization 6.